statues or drawings to portray this god's likeness.
There's only one God, man. And I'm pretty sure he doesn't dress like that.
Now, over time, the Egyptians split this one deity into multiple deities, each with their own unique individual roles. Eventually, humans favored some gods more than others. Now, this is also similar to the Eternals, who came to Earth in 5000 BC to help civilization prosper, with each member of the team being deified in different places around the globe. Now, there are literally hundreds of Egyptian gods, but the Ennead is the main council of gods with 9 members, and there are different schools of thought on which gods are actually in the Ennead. It's like if you prefer the Van Halen of Sammy Hagar or David Lee Roth. Stephen shows us a poster of this Ennead consisting of Osiris, Isis, Horus, Hathor, Tefnut, Geb, and Shu. But Stephen points out
they've got 7 gods here, and the Ennead has 9.
Now, when the Ennead converges for the trial of Konshu, we see that every avatar represents the role of their host god. The highest ranking members are Osiris, Lord of the Dead, and his wife Isis is the mother goddess, and their son Horus is the god of kingship and the sky. In the comics and in Egyptian mythology itself, Osiris is the god of the dead and the afterlife. His most famous myth is when he was sliced into pieces by his jealous brother Seth, often the villain in Marvel Comics. Now, his wife Isis revive him to have their son Horus, making him technically the first mummy. Now, eventually, Horus fights Seth and aids his mother in fully reviving Osiris, giving Osiris the role of the Lord of the Dead and the afterlife. Now, at the end of the 3rd episode, it's Osiris who explains Khonshu's imprisonment to Harrow, and this imprisonment could be thought of as death for one of these gods. Now, Osiris is the son of the earth god Geb and the sky goddess Nut. At one point, he succeeds his father Geb and becomes leader of the Ennead. His roles share similarities with the All-Father Odin. Both of their families are rulers of their pantheon. Isis is considered the All-Mother, the same as Frigga. Horus is most similar to Thor, with his sky powers and his duty to become king one day. Now, because his roles share similarities with the All-Father Odin. Both of their families are rulers of their pantheon. Isis is considered the All-Mother, the same as Frigga. Horus is most similar to Thor, with his sky powers and his duty to become king one day. Now, because of their high leadership status, it makes sense that Osiris, Isis, and Horus's avatars are wealthy-looking business people. Next is Hathor, the goddess of music and love. In Egyptian mythology, she's sometimes regarded as the wife of Horus or the sun god Ra. She's a mother goddess with the powers of love, music, and beauty. She's also known as the mistress of the sky. This is important. In the comics, Hathor is combined with another goddess, Sekhmet. And Sekhmet is a kind of alter ego or evil sister of Bast, and we saw her on a poster here. So this avatar could have some bad blood with Wakanda and the Black Panthers. So when the Egyptians went against Ra, he sent Hathor down to punish them. But her growing fury and bloodlust turned her into Sekhmet, the feline warrior. Now, in Moon Knight, Hathor seems to have had a previous relationship with Konshu.
She says it was not so long ago Konshu enjoyed Hathor's melodies.
Both of their symbols intertwine well, as the moon resides in the sky and is often associated with femininity. I mean, their past love could be the origin for that very idea. She is a combination of strength, love, reason, and her avatar, Yatzil, reflects this.
Khonshu's theatrics are unparalleled. You must be his avatar.
All right. And who are you?
I'm Yatzil, avatar of Hathor.
Here is Tefnut, the goddess of the rain. Now in the comics, she's the daughter of Ra, the sun god, and married her brother Shu, god of the wind. Now this might remind you of a prominent rain goddess from Africa, Storm.
Do you know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning?
But Storm is a mutant. Yeah, I know Storm is a mutant, but she was worshipped as a weather goddess by African tribes. Plus, she's Kenyan royalty who grew up in Cairo. But more importantly, in the comics, she's actually married to T'Challa and become Queen of Wakanda. So it could be that in the MCU, the mutant gene is tied to the energy of these ancient gods. Maybe Apocalypse, the first mutant, was imbued with these ancient energies from the Overvoid and passed them down to all of mutant kind afterwards. Notice that Tefnut is wearing what looks like Wakandan clothing. Now in the past, we've posted videos theorizing that Bast, the panther god of Wakanda, was also part of this original Ennead. After all, Bast was in real life an Egyptian god, who in the MCU might be tied to the purple extraterrestrial energy of the vibranium meteor. And as we see in this show, Amit's energy is purple as well. So Bast might have been part of the Ennead. Very cool. But these links to Wakandan and Norse gods might have all been foreshadowed all the way back in episode 1. Now, we did miss this detail in our Moon Knight episode 1 Easter egg video. We're sorry about that, but we're glad we have a chance to revisit it. When Stephen is researching the Ennead, we can see textbooks on Asgard and Wakanda on his desk. But there's an even more direct connection to Bast. Look at this book Stephen is reading. When describing the Egyptian island Philae as the choice home for these gods, they describe the island as having verdure and purple blossoms. Purple blossoms are carriers of the heart-shaped herb that Bast provided to the Wakandans.
Panther goddess Bast, who led him to the heart-shaped herb.
Again, tying the purple vibranium energy, lending to the theory that all these gods came from space together. Now, we also theorize that Bast also has an avatar, the Black Panther, but maybe thousands of years ago, Bast used a more traditional avatar like the one we see here, where they could take over a human's body. But over time, this role became more symbolic as the Black Panther protected Wakanda without Bast needing to inhabit the body. Or maybe the energy of the heart-shaped herb contains the essence of Bast, which courses through their veins. Now, as the meeting begins, we can see that out of 9 seats, 4 are empty. Now, some of the missing members could be the earth god Geb or the wind god Shu, gods that we saw on the earlier poster. But if we fill those 2 seats, there are still 2 vacancies. Who are the 2 gods that didn't come to the trial and didn't even get acknowledged in the poster? So one option for the god's absence could tie into the upcoming Thor: Love and Thunder. That movie is going to show Thor facing off against the villain Gorr the God Butcher. Now, in the comics, Gorr lives up to his name. He's an alien who hates all gods for not answering his prayers when his wife and child were dying. So now he travels across the cosmos with a necro sword, killing every god he can. Maybe Gorr traveled to the Overvoid, where the Egyptian gods live, and he decimated the Ennead. In fact, this might be the reason why the gods retreated from Earth, but I have another theory on that I'll get into in a minute. There is another possibility for the missing members of the Ennead. Maybe we've already met them. What if the missing members are Konshu and Ammit? Konshu was banished years ago and Ammit was imprisoned.
But she was betrayed.
Was she?
By indolent fellow gods.
Their absence on the poster and standing in the trial would signify that they were erased by the Ennead, and erasing people from monuments was a big thing in ancient Egypt.
Let the name of Moses be stricken from every book and tablet, stricken from every monument of Egypt.
Now, God's